Hey there, Central Ohio. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens coming to you this afternoon as we get ready for a 24-hour period with some 10 TV weather impact alert days in place. That'll start here this evening as we get back into the heavy rain associated with this weather system that's currently pushing through. It has the potential to bring flooding to parts of Central Ohio, and just as soon as that's done, we get back into the cold air tomorrow, and we'll have a continued 10 TV weather impact alert day for winter weather as we transition to snow starting tomorrow morning, possibly seeing a little bit of accumulation for regions around Central Ohio, especially those north and west of Columbus. We're going to be talking about all of the different impacts heading our way over the next about 25-30 minutes here on 10 TV Plus, Facebook, and our YouTube live streams. You can leave comments in the Facebook comment section. We'll get to those here in just a little bit, or you can, of course, text us. You can see that number there on your screen, 614-460-3345. And again, we'll respond to those questions here in just a little bit. I want to first take a look outside at that 10 TV tower camera. You can see the view here where it is still pretty rainy outside, even though we're kind of in between the heavy waves across the region. The fog, another concern we're looking at. Visibility is reduced across Central Ohio at this time, and there could be some areas of dense fog out there this afternoon that may require you to hit the brakes and slow down a little bit on the roads as conditions again deteriorate this afternoon. Right now, though, the good news is the temperatures have stayed warm, and that means while the roads are wet across Central Ohio, we haven't really seen major impacts to travel as of right now, which is some good news out there. You're looking at some various views across the region right now on our ODOT cameras around Franklin County. Things are moving just fine. And again, part of that because temperatures haven't dropped as of now. In fact, we're warming up out there ahead of the rain. We're up to about 40 degrees right now here in Columbus. All the temperatures in Central Ohio right now above the freezing mark, which if you were out early this morning is good news because we started the day off with freezing rain and mixed precipitation. Kind of made for some slick spots out there. A couple snow emergencies were issued earlier today, but for right now, things are doing better. Mostly just the visibility that we're watching out for, with visibility down around a mile in most of Central Ohio. That'll be the case for the next couple of hours. What we're concerned about later on, though, is the return to heavy rain and potential for flooding as we head into this evening. There's a lot of moisture heading towards Central Ohio. You can see the forecast as we head through this evening, picking up with more rain as we get past the 7 o'clock hour and continuing with heavy rain really through the overnight. We're going to be looking at several hours of persistent moderate to heavy rain showers across Central Ohio, and it's going to be again a concern because of two things. One, that there's so much rain coming, and two, that those soils are still pretty frozen this time of the year and much more dense and hard for moisture to absorb into them. So a lot of this could run off and create some flooding concerns as we head through tonight. That's your main weather impact alert tonight, 7 o'clock through tomorrow about 7 in the morning. The heavy rain and the potential for flooding. Staying connected is the best advice for this situation. Make sure you have that 10 TV weather app on your phone, and we'll get those weather alerts to you right in your pocket as they come out. Speaking of weather alerts, here's where they are right now. Flood watches in place through Sunday and even into early Monday for all the counties here in that sort of forest green color. The biggest flooding concern is going to be across our southern counties. You can see it down toward Pike and Ross, over toward Athens, on up toward Guernsey as we get out toward the east. Also picking up some of those flood concerns as we head into this evening. You notice there's kind of a common trend for the areas that are under the flood watches at this time. These are more of the hilly regions in Central Ohio, more valleys out there where that water can quickly run down and cause flooding issues. Those are the areas that we have the biggest concern, and unfortunately the areas that could see the highest rainfall as well. Right now, radar is pretty quiet across the region. If you're outside, you'll notice even though the radar is not showing anything, it's still kind of coming down. There's this persistent low-level mist in place outside right now. You're not going to pick it up on radar, but it will keep roads slick as we head into this evening. The bigger concern, though, what is still to come. You can see that big surge of moisture working its way right now through southern Indiana, southern Illinois, into portions of Missouri. That is all heading our way and is what we're expecting to produce the heavy rain as we head through the next several hours. Again, this is expected to pick up here in central Ohio as we head past the 7 o'clock hour tonight. Let's go and track that hour by hour. Here's the latest forecast out there. That mist continues as we head toward about 6, 7 o'clock. Then it starts to turn to more persistent rainfall. Things will start light at first, but as we work our way deeper into the evening, that rain picks up. You can see some of those yellows and oranges, especially in those southern counties out there. A little bit of pink popping up here on the Futurecast models as well. This could be some isolated mixing in there, but this is not really going to be the primary concern. We're not expecting really any ice formation, really just the heavy rain that's going to push through. That continues as we head into the overnight hours. Again, I think the model's overdoing that ice concern out there. This is more going to be heavy rain than anything else. As we head into the early part of Sunday, that rain still continuing. By this point, 5 a.m., we're running up on about 10 hours of continuous rainfall across the region. So again, things are going to be pretty soaked by this point, and we're really going to see whether or not that water is starting to pond, is starting to cause flooding concerns by the time we head into the early part of the day on Sunday. As we get toward about 7 o'clock, well, that's when the cold air starts to arrive and we start to get into phase 2 of this system. By 7 a.m., already seeing snow, pretty heavy snow picking up in those northwestern counties here across central Ohio. And then the rain will start to progressively push out as we transition to the cold side of the system. When it comes to expected rainfall, we're going to get a good soaking across central Ohio. Those northern counties will pick up less, on the order of about, say, ½ inch to 1.5 inches. We'll be closing in on 1.5 inches to 2 here in Columbus. The further south you get, the more likelihood of the heavy rain picking up in your area. Again, those southern counties could pick up around 2 inches of rainfall. Some places could see even heavier totals. This most recent run has backed off just a little bit. I think it's part of that side effect of seeing that freezing rain come into the picture. Again, not expecting that to be a major concern, but you notice some of those reds as you head further to the southwest. That would be an excess of 2.5 inches. So I think some of those hardest hit southern counties may end up in that 2 to 3 inch range, and that's where we have the highest concern for flooding potential as we head through today and into tonight. The Weather Prediction Center placing those southern counties under a moderate risk for flooding out there as we head through this evening. You see a slight risk all the way up to Columbus. That's a level 2 out of 4 risk as we head into tonight. Again, those heavier flooding risk, again, in that hillier part of southern Ohio where you have those hills and valleys and things that don't necessarily drain so nicely when you put a lot of water on it. So those will be the areas we're watching very closely. Along those lines, I do want to go ahead and refresh everybody's sort of knowledge about flood alerts and what they mean and what you should do if we see them issued across the region, because it's been a while since we've really dealt with heavy rain and flooding across the region. Flood advisories out there, that's the lowest risk category for flooding. Not expected to be a major risk to life or property. These are flooding locations that would typically flood in a heavy rain. Areas of poor drainage, low-lying areas. Think of the areas anytime it rains real good where you see water come up. That's where you'd probably see it in a flood advisory. Under a flood warning, well, this is a more serious situation. It's going to take a few hours for the water to reach those dangerous levels, but this will start to spill out of those common areas for flooding, and you might see water in places you're not expecting to see water, and you could certainly see very deep water in areas that do flood more often. These type of situations, definitely more dangerous, threat to life and property. Make sure if you are under the gun for those and you see the water rising, that you get to higher ground and don't chance staying where you're at. The flash flood warning is the most extreme version of a flood warning. These can happen for a number of reasons. Ice jams, heavy rainfall, dam or levee failures. Those are all things that could lead to a flash flood warning. And these are violent and rapid rises in water, life-threatening situations. Very much so. You need to take immediate action under a flash flood warning. If your area is listed as being in immediate danger, definitely seek higher ground from a flash flood warning. One more alert to pass along. That is the standard flood warning. That actually deals with a river. Anytime a waterway rises up out of its banks into a flooding situation, it will be placed under a flood warning. And again, those type of warnings could last for days or even weeks at a time as all of that water slowly drains out of the region through the waterways. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest flood concern we have with this system, is all of that water is going to drain into those waterways. And we could definitely see some flooding concerns along the rivers, especially in southern Ohio. The closer you get to the border down there of Kentucky and West Virginia, those are going to be areas of highest concern for some river flooding as we head through this system. I'll leave you with some of these tips, needs to know as this system comes through. Turn around, don't drown. That's the saying out there, because you never know how deep the water you're going to drive into actually is. It only takes about 6 inches of water to float most vehicles. A foot can do it to trucks even. So definitely move to higher ground. Don't drive through there. And again, stay connected to get those flood alerts on your phone. Like we said, though, this is only half of the equation when it comes to the weather heading our way. So let's move into the second half. Again, we pick things back up Sunday morning as we start to make that transition from rain into snow. It's not going to be a long period of heavy snow, but you can see those dark blues racing through in the midday and starting to push out as we head into the afternoon. We don't ever really get past snow chances on Sunday. We see it continue into the afternoon with bands of snow, heavy at times. Some of these bands could very quickly drop visibility across the region and lead to travel issues at times as we head through Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, even into Sunday night before we start to push these things on out. And again, we are expecting to see at least some snow accumulation come with this ahead of the much colder air that will rush into central Ohio behind it. Here's a look at the snowfall forecast through Sunday about 10 o'clock. Areas that are picking up the heaviest rain, you're going to have the least potential for accumulating snowfall, most likely under an inch. We start to get up around an inch, maybe 2 as we get toward Columbus, and then areas further to the northwest, you transition into the heavy snow first. You'll see a little bit more of it. You could pick up several inches of snowfall by the time the system's all said and done. And there are winter weather alerts on the backside of the system as well. You can see those winter weather alerts in place out there. They'll go through about Sunday, say 7 o'clock in the evening when they'll expire. Includes Delaware County up toward Marion County, up toward Bucyrus, Kenton, all under those winter weather advisories as we head through the backside of this system, because again, multi-part severe weather, or not severe weather, but multi-part impact weather heading our way. First, that flooding concern, and next, that concern for wintry weather. Of course, again, that's the broad look at the forecast. So now I want to go ahead and get into some of those questions that you guys have sent in. Again, you can text them to us at 614-460-3345 or post them to the comment section on the stream on Facebook as well. I'll get the Facebook questions pulled up on my phone, and I got the text messages pulled up there on screen as well. So I'll be able to see what you guys are saying here in just one moment on the Facebook side of things, at least. There we go. And text messages. So let's go ahead and see what we got. How much snow is Marion supposed to get? There's a question into our text line there. We'll switch back to the snow map, and you can see up toward Marion, you're kind of in that 1 to 3 inch zone. So you're going to get a decent snow accumulation, nothing excessive by standards for Ohio, but enough to be concerned about as we head out there. So do keep that in mind as you head into tomorrow. Another question here asking about the Wednesday-Thursday system coming in later this week. We'll talk more about that later tonight in our full weather coverage. We'll have, of course, streaming that on 10 TV Plus, but also on the air tonight's at 7 o'clock, shifted due to golf on CBS, and then we'll talk about it again tonight at 11. We're going to keep more on the next 24 hours here for this stream. In terms of, here's another question, says, will Knox County still get rain this evening? Yes, you guys are still definitely going to get rain this evening. I'll switch back to the rain accumulation map as well. If you can put max 1 up there, Kyle, for me. There we go. We'll switch back one more graphic, 2 more graphics, several more graphics. There we go. That's the rain accumulation map for you guys. You can see, again, decent rain accumulation all across central Ohio on the order of several inches in most spots out there. So again, Knox County, you guys are getting decent rain this evening. You're not under the flood alerts, though. So I would be not so concerned about flooding, but anything for you guys really going to get soaked up there in Knox County as well. Looking at the Facebook chat, not seeing too many questions from you guys in the Facebook feed. Big Rich Carter, though, says, wish this rain would have all been snow. If this was all snow, we would be getting hammered with snow out there across the region. Keep in mind, about every, say, inch of rain, roughly, is about 10 inches of snow. So if this was a snow system at its base level, not counting any of the other factors that goes into snow totaling, it could be a 15-inch plus snowfall. So we would be getting hammered if this were the case. Got a couple people in the chat saying hi. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Michael. All checking in, saying hi out there this evening as well. Again, remember, you can text your questions 614-460-3345, or you can post them in the Facebook chat as well. Got another question here. Says, do you think winter weather advisories could get issued for central and eastern parts of Ohio? That's not out of the question as we head toward tomorrow. I'll put the advisory map back up here as well. I don't think it's necessarily a huge threat. Our snowfall is going to be much less than what those northwestern counties are. The counties that are under the advisories right now are those that are expecting over 2 inches of snowfall pretty more consistently in the forecast. As far as whether or not that gets issued further east, it might at some point tomorrow. Kind of depends on how the snow starts to come down. I don't think, again, it's going to be a major driving impact out there for snow in those eastern counties. It's going to be harder to accumulate on top of everything that's so wet and still fairly warm from the rain system pushing through. So it's not impossible, but I don't think it's going to be a major threat. Got a question here into our text line as well. Says, is the rain going to turn to ice before snow? Checking in for the Lancaster area. The model run that we have in here most recently does show some of the mix in there, but I think it's really gonna be overdoing that potential. I'll switch back to that model here as we head into tonight. You can see that rain pushing in as we head toward 6, 7 o'clock, and then as we get into the evening, this particular model here is showing some of that mix. I'm not gonna rule that out, but I think this is really gonna be more of a rain event. I'll show you another weather model that we pull up sometimes here. This one's called the Triple R. The one we are showing you right now is kind of our in-house model. As we head into this evening, also depicting the heavy rain coming through, even showing much more extremes to the rainfall. So I think this one might be overdoing the extremity of some of that rain. But again, not depicting that freezing potential. And I think that's the more likely scenario. Moderate to heavy rain. I would not expect much in the way of icing as we head through tonight and into tomorrow. Let me see if I can pull up a temperature model for you, and I'll show you the temperatures as we head through tonight, because again, we're not really, like I said, expecting much in the way of icing as we head into the evening. It's mostly going to be rain. So here we go. Here's 4 o'clock temperatures showing us about 40 degrees. That's or 39. That's pretty much exactly where we're at right now. You can see down at the bottom right of your screen. We'll cycle this through time here, heading forward. Oh, I got to put the time on. It's not moving with time. So give me 1 second here. We will add some time to this graphic, and we'll go for the next 24 hours. And again, this isn't our official forecast. This is just one weather model, what it is showing out there. So take that with a little bit of grain of salt when it comes to the temperatures out there for Columbus. But as we push this forward in time, heading into tonight, You can see by 6, 7 o'clock, we're still pretty much all above freezing out there. As we head into the evening, still above freezing, continuing into the early part of Sunday. All of those temperatures staying above freezing. By about 6 o'clock, though, look up toward Findlay. That's where we're starting to drop below the freezing mark, transitioning to snow. And then as we head into the day tomorrow, those temperatures start to come down for the rest of the region as well. So again, we will get to snow. I just don't think we're going to get there for tonight. That would be kind of my forecast for you guys. In fact, I'll show you the next 12 hours we had in there as well, further back toward the beginning of the show. And our forecast through the overnight hours, especially here in Columbus, is for temperatures to stay above freezing. And I would take that over to Lancaster as well. Would not expect to see those temperatures drop to a point where we really see much icing tonight. It's mostly going to be, again, the rain concern. Another question here into the text chat says, will all the water on the ground of the roads turn to ice when temperatures drop below freezing? It is a possibility for that to start to turn to ice as we head into tomorrow. The good news is that the road temperatures, let me pull up our road temperatures graphic as well, are above freezing as of right now, and they should stay that way for a little bit of time even after the cold air moves in. So we're looking at 40-degree road temperatures across the region right now. I'm tilted up there. Let me pull up another graphic real quick and we will show you what is underneath the road. That's another thing we can show you guys here at home. And that gives you kind of an idea of how long we can keep the warmth on the road. The warmer the air underneath, the longer that road surface, or I guess the dirt underneath, not the air, the longer that road surface can also stay warm. So let me grab that real quick here. Our road temperatures. I got a bunch of buttons over here on our system. So there we go, road temperatures. So again, 440 up at the surface right now. We'll put on those subsurface temperatures as well. Turn those on here for you. There we go. And you can see underneath, a little colder in some spots out toward Urbana, 34.7 underneath the road. We get closer in here to Columbus, 38.3 in both locations out there. So that's above freezing. That's not going to keep it warm forever, but it's going to give it some leeway as we head into the day tomorrow for, crews to get some salt out there on the road once the rain stops and we've switched over to snow. I think we'll probably be fine in most spots. But if you're in an untreated area and it doesn't really get salt anytime soon tomorrow and it's left to freeze overnight, say a parking lot, something that's not getting a lot of traffic, that certainly could turn into a little bit of ice. Looking back at the Facebook chat, Deborah checking in, saying hello, having a good time. Says missing Mardi Gras. Never been to a Mardi Gras, but it always looks like fun. Vivi saying the sump pump's going to be working tonight. Absolutely. If you're in one of those line areas, if you got a basement that water could come into, definitely could see some of that area seeing some work in terms of those sump pumps later tonight. Cody coming in with the positive energy. I love it, Cody. One day closer to 70 and sunny. That is a good way to look at it as well. Vivi says, cannot wait for that. And Maria saying, stay off the road if you can't drive. Well, always good advice out there. You don't want to be in any kind of dangerous situation. I think for rain tonight, your biggest concern is going to be avoiding those flooding roads out there. But then again, as we head toward tomorrow, we turn back toward the ice and the other side of things. So I want to recap here real quick. We'll go back over to the weather wall and we'll get things wrapped up here by about 4:30. We'll start with the weather impact graphic here as soon as the computer switches over. There we go. 7 o'clock to 7 a.m. Heavy rain, flooding concerns. Make sure you're staying connected out there as we head into this evening because we're going to be watching for the potential of flooding across a good portion of central Ohio, mostly for those southern counties. Those areas with more terrain elevation, hills, valleys are going to be the biggest concern, and especially those rivers in southern portions of the region as those watersheds drain into them tonight. We're expecting a lot of water to build up in some areas. That's why we do have flood watches in place. We go up to really Cambridge along I-71, Guernsey County, stretch all the way down through Athens, Pike, and Ross counties. really kind of follows the area of higher hills and valleys here in central Ohio. Once you get over toward Pennsylvania, once you get down toward West Virginia and Kentucky, those are our biggest concerns for flooding as we head through tonight. Right now, just dealing with the mist out there across the region, but what's to come is plenty of heavy rain. That stretches all the way back through Kentucky, down into southern Indiana, southern Illinois. You can see that heavy rain pushing in at this hour, and it really has a good source of moisture stretching all the way back down into the deep south. So that will be funneling its way our way as we head through tonight. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. Once again, we pick the rain back up here about 6, 7 o'clock. We start to move beyond the mist and get more toward persistent rainfall. That continues through the overnight. Again, what I think the model's doing here is overplaying the freezing aspect. I would not plan on this. Expect this to mostly be moderate to at times heavy rain. Again, as that continues through tonight, don't focus too much on the pink. I think we're overdoing that here in the latest forecast model. Mostly going to be that rain. As we head toward early Sunday morning, this is when we do start to transition back toward wintry weather. It's going to start first in those northwestern counties. You can see up toward Kenton, Bellefontaine. As we head toward 5:30, 6 o'clock, we do start to see a transition to the wintry weather. That eventually spreads across the rest of the region by sunrise. You can see that transition pushing through Franklin County by about 8 o'clock in the morning. Rainfall totals out there, we're going to get a good soaking. We could be up close to 1.5 inches, 2 inches here in Columbus. Areas further to the south, I think some of these spots could go even higher than what you see on the map here. You could probably get up even closer to 3 inches in some of those spots across the southern region as we head through tonight. And that will make flooding a concern across central Ohio, especially, again, those southern counties, more hills, more valleys. That's where we're going to be watching for a level 3 out of 4 risk for flooding potential later tonight into tomorrow. And then we see that potential drop to a level 2 out of 4 as we go up to areas pretty much toward I-70 and to the south before you get into those higher risk further to the south. Once you get into the marginal risk, I wouldn't really be concerned about flooding for you guys. You could get into flood advisory territory where you have some flood impacts out there, but I wouldn't expect them to be major. The bigger concern is, again, those southern counties, Pike, Ross, even over to Athens, that are under those red conditions as we head through tonight. I won't go through all the flood warnings again for you. We did touch on that earlier, but again, flooding advice, turn around, don't drown, move to higher ground if you find yourself under a flood alert, especially a flash flood alert. Those are violent, rapid changes in water and something you need to take action for fairly immediately. And of course, make sure you stay connected. The 10TV app or the Weather Network app powered by us here at 10TV is a great weather app to have on your phone. You'll get those weather alerts sent right to your pocket. Continuing on from there, we get back into the transition as we head through the day on Sunday. We get to all snow as we work our way through the midday and into the afternoon. Even once the heavy, consistent snow pushes by, bands of snowfall, heavy at times, that could cause some travel issues, do continue throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. This will start to wrap up as we head into Monday. Snowfall totals out there. Most areas that are getting the heaviest rain won't get a lot of the snow, but we could see, again, some minor accumulations, about 1 inch, maybe 2 in Franklin County, 2 to 3 plus as you get further up toward the northwest. And those are the counties that we see with winter weather advisories in place as of tonight. Those will go until about 7 o'clock as we head toward tomorrow evening. Of course, again, it's been great talking to you guys here on 10TV Plus, but we'll be back for more coverage throughout the rest of the evening. We'll be on TV tonight a little bit later and on 10 Plus due to golf on CBS. We'll be there at 7 o'clock. We'll be back here for another special at 9 o'clock tonight. And then again, we'll be back on TV and 10TV Plus as we head toward 11. Till then, you can always get more information on that 10TV app or at 10tv.com. Have a great afternoon.